Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be assessing the Seattle Seahawks first half of the season. The Seahawks are at a 4-4 record going against the Arizona Cardinals in week number 10 as the Cardinals are 6-2. We're going to assess the first half so far. We are 4-4. We could easily be 8-0 with just a few more plays bouncing our way. But then again, ifs don't really happen in this league, and the Seahawks have to find a way to get back on track, and they are definitely doing that in the previous 2 weeks that previous 2 games they last played. Here are the losses so far in the season that are very notable. Bengals and Panthers both should have been easy wins for the Seahawks. Not easy, but they should have been wins because they had the lead in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter in the Bengals game, they were 100% but they were in the lead by 17 points, 24-7, with, I would say, 13 minutes left. In the Panthers game, I believe we had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and we eventually gave up a touchdown with 32 or 34 seconds left to Greg Olsen, and I was just absolutely shocked because it was back-to-back weeks where they gave up fourth quarter leads. So assessing the first half, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of off-field issues. There's a Super Bowl, there's this thing about Russell Wilson not having sex with Ciara. There's so many off-field type of things going on that distract them from football, and it does play a toll on the players. But Cam Chancellor holding out, that was huge. First 2 games this season, Seahawks lose against the Rams and the Packers. Both games were iffy going into the season, but the Rams I thought they would beat. But the Rams always give us a tough fight, so I should have known that when we were facing them. The Packers, on the other hand, it was in their stadium, and that was definitely going to be tough. If there was 1 or 2 games that I had them losing, it was going to be against the Packers, and I even thought the Ravens. I predicted this team to go 14-2. I had the Ravens and Packers beating the Seahawks and no other team beating them. I'm obviously wrong because they are 4-4 and there's still 8 games left to go in this season, but they could easily, like I said, be 8-0. When we look at the first half of this season, the offensive line was terrible to start off the season. They look like they're getting a little bit better over the past few games, but the offense cannot score in the red zone anything other than a field goal. It seems like all they do is get a field goal. I think in the 17 red zone attempts, they only have 5 touchdowns. And for some reason, we bring in a guy like Jimmy Graham and trade for him, giving up one of our best linemen, one of the best. I mean, Okung's up there as well, giving up one of our best, Max Unger, for Jimmy Graham, and we don't even use him in the end zone when we need him most. I don't know why we don't use Jimmy Graham. This could be an offensive coordinator issue. Darrell Bevell has always been under fire, and I think that everybody has reason to. I have not liked Darrell Bevell's play calling several times. I mean, Super Bowl 49 obviously is very notable at the very end of that play, or the very end of that game. Great play by Malcolm Butler. We have to give credit where credit is due because he made a tremendous play and read it perfectly. So as we continue on, the Seahawks still have tough opponents. They have, continuing with the offensive line issues, it sucked at the very beginning. We were just horrible. We're still pretty bad. But if we're just bad, it's better than what we were before. If we're bad, I still think I can see this team making a run, winning their next 8. There's a lot of tough teams. If there's one game that's going to be tough, it's the Vikings, and the rest I think we should win out. And the Cardinals on the road. So 6-2 isn't too bad for half of the season, first half or second half. But at the same time, the Seahawks are 4-4. So if they were 6-2 currently, that'd be perfect. They'd be 12-4, and they'd be right in the mix of the playoff run, and even for a home field advantage. Now they still can do that, but the Panthers don't look like they're going to be slowing down anytime soon, as they are a perfect 8-0, and they only need 4 wins or about maybe 5 wins in their next 8 games to solidify the home field advantage, which is very possible for them to do. Getting back to the Seahawks are going to have a tough schedule ahead of them. They have to continue their success on defense. The defense has played lights out this season. There's been games that have been bad. 2 notable games were the Rams and Packers. Cam Chancellor was not in those games. But also, when Cam Chancellor was in those games, the Bengals and Panthers, they gave up late fourth quarter leads, something the Seahawks have been doing a lot lately. Super Bowl 49 is one of those notable ones. And I'm trying to think of another game. At least the Atlanta Falcons, when we faced them 4 years ago, in the first season that Russell Wilson was a rookie for the Seahawks, we lost to the Falcons, and they gave it up a field goal. Pete Carroll called a timeout, and then he missed it, and then he made it after the timeout. So a bad call there. It wasn't a bad call at all. Just the way that game went. The Seahawks, it was an amazing game. When I was watching, I couldn't believe that we came all the way stormed back. I was thinking ahead, looking at the NFC Championship game, going up against the 49ers, but didn't happen. So to this season, the Seahawks have given up late fourth quarter leads lately. All of their losses they've led the lead in the fourth quarter in their last 5 losses going back to last season, or at least the Super Bowl, since the Super Bowl. So one thing that has to change is in the fourth quarter is they have to be clutch. This team was the best finishing team in all football last season until Super Bowl 49. They were up 24-14. You can name all the things you want to say about a horrible play call, but at the same time, the defense collapsed. And a huge issue and a huge part to that was Jeremy Lane. Jeremy Lane was injured in the first quarter, I believe, when he intercepted a pass and Julian Edelman hit him out of bounds, where he tore his ACL and broke his wrist tremendously bad. So, or his arm. It's one of the two. I'm seeing the play in my head, and I don't want to see that picture again because it was pretty sad to see Jeremy Lane be injured on one of the best plays he's ever done in his life. So the Seahawks have to continue their success on defense. On offense, the offensive line just has to be bad for them to succeed because the offensive line has been atrocious. It has been horrible, worse than Seattle Seahawks last 4 years with Russell Wilson under center. So with that being said, Russell Wilson has his best receiving core he has ever had. He has Jimmy Graham. He has Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is tremendous. That guy might be small, but he's one of the fastest dudes in the NFL. We still have Doug Baldwin. He's always been an amazing guy. He doesn't have flashy numbers, but you know what? He gets the job done when he gets the ball in his hands. So you can say what you want about Doug Baldwin, say he's not a good receiver, but I think he's a great receiver. You put him with another team like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or some really good team, he's probably going to, I'm saying really good with passing, pass first offense. He's probably going to get 1,300 yards. He's a great player, and I'm glad to have him on the team. I mean, just look at Golden Tate. As soon as he moves to the Detroit Lions offense, he turns into gold. You know, he was gold with us, but at the same time, he wasn't the number one target, essentially, it seemed like. It seemed like, not necessarily that he wasn't the number one target, but we're a run-first offense. This is how we've been the last 4 years, and we've been that way for a long time. You know, with Matthew Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander, you know, there's a lot of running plays because we had one of the best offensive lines ever. I mean, Steve Hutchinson, Walter Jones, those are one of the best linemen to ever play this game. Especially Walter Jones. He was absolutely tremendous. So, the Seahawks, 4-4, have a tough road ahead of them. If they can continue their success, at least in these last 2 games, they've played all right. They haven't played anything flashy. The offense has to step it up. If they want to beat a high-powered offense like the Arizona Cardinals, 13 points isn't going to get it done. So, we will see and look ahead to this Sunday Night Football matchup with the Arizona Cardinals. I want to know your thoughts about the Seattle Seahawks first half of the season. And if you enjoyed this video, if you did enjoy this video, please leave me a like, a comment, and possibly subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next one.